Hello and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. On the show today, we look at the resilience of our farmers during COVID-19 and the progress of food production in the penal system. We also remind you of the call to give blood and the process of making it safe for transfusion. There is so much more in this half hour, so stay with us.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
The Department of Correctional Services is holding fast to its mission of feeding inmates by growing what they eat. We have an update on the progress at the Tamarind Farm Adult Correctional Facility.
The Grow What You Eat What You Grow mantra has been gaining momentum within the Department of Correctional Services DCS. At both juvenile and adult correctional facilities, there have been increased production of agricultural produce and the rearing of chickens and other farm animals. This in an effort to make the DCS become self-sufficient in food production for inmates. We visited the Tamarind Farm Adult Correctional Center, where 2 new broiler units are being constructed to house approximately 9,000 chickens. This is facilitated through a public-private partnership with Nutrimix Feeds, where approximately 6 flocks of chicken will be produced each year. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Senator Matthew Samuda, says the partnership is important to the DCS achieving its food security objective.
The fact is, we're clear that we need to improve nutrition for our inmates while reducing long-term costs on the taxpayer. So this is the result of those 2 objectives coming together as one.
In addition to broiler units, a tractor was handed over to the Department of Correctional Services and will be used to cultivate several acres of lands across all adult facilities.
On average, we have about 70 acres that we could certainly put our tractor to good use. Level land that we will get into production of sorrel, our pumpkin, our callaloo, and other items. As we farm what we utilize within our inmate population.
With this tractor, it signifies to the country that we're taking our capacity to feed ourselves more seriously.
The tractor was purchased at a cost of 11 million Jamaican dollars. Technical support on the proper use and maintenance of the vehicle will be provided by Kingston Industrial Agencies Limited to correctional officers and inmates.
We have a lot of confidence that this will be an excellent unit for the prisons to use in cultivation. It is a general cultivation tractor and can use plows, harrows, and all sorts of different implements to effect the quality growing and efficient growing of produce of all kinds.
This will create efficiencies, this will add security, and this will drive down costs for provision of food for our inmates.
According to Minister Samuda, the construction of the broiler units and the tractor to assist with cultivation are also part of the skills training rehabilitation process.
At the end of the day, we don't want to turn people out in the same state or worse than they would have entered our facilities. So this will serve to train persons as to the appropriate measures for raising chickens. It will teach them how to properly move it from farming to a business, because they'll learn how to well, not dispose of them, I guess, kill them and properly clean them, etc. for consumption. So this is, I think, is a major step in the right direction, and it's an example that when we come together in the public and the private sector, what can be achieved, because this will go to the benefit of the entire prison system, and we're very happy about that.
With that encouragement, the Department of Correctional Services continues to move closer towards being self-sufficient in food production.
Up next, we'll look at the resilience of our farmers who are producing in the midst of COVID-19.
In every crisis, there's a seed of greater benefit. Find the seed, sow the seed, and watch us extricate ourselves, not just extricate ourselves from crisis, but go on to build and to create prosperity.
In this case, the seed is pepper, West Indian red pepper being grown on the Springs Plain Agri-Parks in Clarendon. The farm supplies 10,000 pounds of pepper weekly to Grace Kennedy Foods, from which a wide range of products are manufactured and distributed to consumers across Jamaica, the wider Caribbean, and the diaspora. Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Audley Shaw, says this is a great strategic partnership between GK Foods and Jamaican farmers on our agri-parks.
This is a wonderful experience for all of us. And what it does is it emphasizes the vision of the government through not just through the agri-parks, of which this is one, but the vision of the government that the way that agriculture has to move is not just to grow things and sell them fresh, but it's a vertical integration into agro-processing.
Farmer Gary Colton says he is happy to have rebounded from the 2-month setback from COVID-19 with the support of a buyer.
It's a good partnership we have going here, and there's a lot of support coming from the AIC group. We try to do a lot of things on our own, but if we buck shuffle, slip, AIC is right there to catch us up and keep us moving.
The ministry has just asked us and the minister to say, in this time of COVID, when there have been challenges, can you help the farmers? Grace had committed to contract farmers to grow 1 million kgs of peppers this year. And in addition, we're taking peppers from any of the small farmers who have peppers to deliver and don't have a market. So we definitely want to thank the ministry for all its support over the years.
Spring Plain Agri-Park is one of several agri-parks being managed by the Agro-Investment Corporation AIC, which is Global GAP certified. The park consists of 705 acres, of which 602 acres have irrigation. In addition, there are currently 21 investors and farmers on the park. During reaping time, over 100 persons are hired. Seasonal crops produced on the farm include onions, Scotch bonnet, peppers, cassava, lettuce, okra, cauliflower, pak choy, sweet potato, Irish potato, and carrots. Chairman of AIC Vitus Evans says the agency will continue to invest millions of dollars to upgrade agricultural technology, support farmers, and incorporate agricultural best practices to assure food security for all.
I think what we've seen today is evidence of that, and if we continue that way, I'm sure we will get the kind of level of production that we need to actually push the economy where you want it to go.
This project right here symbolizes exactly what can be replicated across the country in a range of other crops. And we have a very ambitious target. Our target is the world, because guess what? Globally, everybody doesn't have the same potential as we have in Jamaica. So our platform for the expansion of agriculture and agro-industry, the platform is not Jamaica. The platform is the world.
Minister Shaw says markets in the diaspora are also being targeted, as well as within CARICOM, where there is access to duty-free arrangements. However, he says the process to increase output must include putting more idle lands into production.
And so I will not rest until we see all of those idle lands turning into productive capacity. And part of that productive capacity is to up the value chain through agro-processing. And that is part of a major program of wealth creation for Jamaica.
According to Minister Shaw, the next major step is to expand the agro-processing capacity of the country, helping farmers and, by extension, the sector realize its full potential. He says partnerships will be forged to construct a state-of-the-art agro-processing facility. This is scheduled to begin in 2020.
Part of what the mandate of the AIC, that we're going to be turning the old AMC complex on, sits on about 10 acres of land. And that's going to be done in partnership with the private sector. This is not government running things. This is government facilitating the private sector to make things happen.
Grace remains totally committed to moving agriculture to another level in Jamaica and for it to make a much, much greater contribution to the economy of the country.
Minister Shaw commends the farmers on their resilience and the private sector for their continued support to the industry.
I'm happy to be here, and I want to thank you, Mr. Colton, for the leadership that you're displaying, and the quality of your products is superb. And once again, congratulations to Grace Kennedy for the leadership that you are showing in the private sector. That, you know, in every crisis, we have an opportunity here to create wealth in Jamaica.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
Sunday is Father's Day, but it's not too early to celebrate our fathers for their dedication to their families. Richard McLean is one such example.
I wanted us to be a very good father, a caring and loving father for my children. The reason why I really want to be that father is, you know, I believe I want to be like somebody who I think that someone can emulate. You know, so I try my endeavor best to be what I am today. That father with that courage and wisdom, you know, to assist my children in all ways I can, just as good as I can.
Daddy plays a very important role in our life, right? So he's like a mentor to us and those things, because he set a very good example.
My father is a good father. He do what he can do for, and he work very hard for, and he will tell us what to do for him, and we will do it for him.
He works extremely hard. When I say extremely hard, I mean late hours, just to ensure that his children, they are happy, they're comfortable. You know, he is a person who will just encourage them. You see, if there are times when they feel let down, like at school, he will try and motivate them. He tells them at all times that they can make it. It doesn't matter what they can achieve. And he's very passionate about education, and therefore is that type of person who wants to see his children be the best they can be. We have some men who, because of their child challenges and all of that, they would deter. That is not Richard. He is so passionate about Richie. I don't know because of his challenges why he's so passionate about him, especially. He would go the extra mile to ensure that all appointments are filled, and he takes him to school in the morning.
As a father, when I acknowledge that my son having the problem that he had cerebral palsy, I was really sad. And I was sad, and then I began to pray, and get some strength. And my wife, she was crying, and I just have to encourage the family. Richard have progressed thus far, and from where he's coming from. Remember, boy, when he was like in 6 months, when he was 5 years old. I have to lift him up, bring him to Mona Rehab. Today, I do not have to lift him again. He can walk, balance a little bit, much better by himself. So I am today, I'm being a proud dad, seeing the progress that he's making through God.
He is not embarrassed about his son's challenges. He's proud of him. If you want to get him upset, try to belittle that child. To me, Richard sees Richard as a normal child. He does not see him with those challenges.
So you feel today, Richard?
I am bad, and
That's good, man. God has been giving you the strength that you can really cope. So you're coping in this situation, Richard?
Yeah, God grace.
With God's grace. Wonderful. We continue to pray, and our friend of ours to pray with us, and our church family would encourage us to hold the faith, and we continue to do it.
He's really a family man, and he loves his children dearly. It goes without saying, this man loves his children dearly.
He will get up in the mornings and prepare their breakfast. That's how dedicated he is. He will go the extra mile. It doesn't matter what it takes for him to let the family feel comfortable. That's the person you're looking at. And I really love him, and I appreciate him for that. I think God has given me the best man in the whole entire world. He is really a great father, and he's a great role model for his kids. Great role model. And because of that, especially Richard, he loves church.
My son is here to me.
I remember in his early days, I used to have to stop from work sometime or 3 times for the week to carry him to early stimulation, and then another 2 appointments at the Bustamante Hospital for the same week. I remember sometimes some of my manager would say, boy, I don't have a physically challenged child. I just want to take days off from the work just to do something else. But, because of my faithfulness to Richard, I believe this is why today he can help himself much better. Being that role model, as I would say to my children, I've lost my business. I've lost everything in the business, but we do not lose our faith in God. And I've continued working with my children it's rough days. Our finance has gone. But I still hold courage and continue to give our children their support, because I told them they are not gonna live worse. They must live better. Despite of the burning down of the business, they must live better, because I've got confidence that God will not give us more than we can bear. And today I'm still holding my faith for better.
He is really a great father.
He's a supportive father, a hard-working, a dedicated father, and a committed father. You can always count on him anytime you need, you want him or any support. Thank you, Daddy, for being the best daddy in the whole world. I love you, Daddy!
In recent days, there has been an intensified call for persons to donate blood. But before you do, there are certain requirements you must meet. It's also reassuring to know that when blood is given, the necessary process kicks into action to make it safe for others to receive.
As long as man is around to get sick or injured, blood will remain a high-demand substance for health practitioners. But for all its wonderful properties, the life-saving bodily fluid could become a death sentence if not handled properly. For those who need their supplies boosted, health workers cannot simply hook up a needle and feed the red and white cells from another individual straight to the needy bloodstream.
It's not just a simple matter of collecting blood, finding out what the group is, and then passing it on to the recipient. There are lots of other things that go into providing safe blood.
Think of blood like a home. Certain fundamental things like walls, floors, and ceilings are common to all, but the little things you put in over the years and experiences you have within those spaces make each unique to its owner. Like your home, blood can change owners, but you have to make some adjustments to have it meet the needs of the new recipient. That is what the technicians and health workers have to do before blood that is donated can be passed on to someone in need. The first step is to screen the donor to determine their medical history and suitability to donate.
The screening is aimed at 1, protecting the donor, and 2, protecting the potential recipient.
After that, it's a matter of sterilizing the donor's arm and proceeding to draw the blood. From there, the blood is taken to the lab, where it goes through a series of tests. Technicians look for things like blood groupings such as A, B, O, and Rh types, antibodies in the red blood cells, venereal diseases such as syphilis, HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, hepatitis B and C, which affect the liver, and HTLV, human T-cell lymphotropic virus type 1 and 2, a virus that weakens the immune system. At the island's blood bank, the National Blood Transfusion Service, tests such as these are carried out daily. For each unit of blood drawn, 2 sample tubes are also collected. These are referred to as the red and purple top. For accuracy, data on the tubes must correspond with the main bag. The purple top sample is used to screen for antibodies and blood groupings. Blood grouping is just as important as the infectious screening. This ensures compatibility for the recipients, that is, people of the same blood group receiving the same blood type.
We do our ABO grouping here at the blood bank using the Diamed system. This technology is a gel system. It has microtubules, otherwise we call it as wells, and it has our anti-sero already in these wells.
A drop of the donor blood is placed into each of these wells. It is incubated and put in a machine that spins the substance at a high speed. After this process, a reading is given.
This is an example of a blood group. We can read it macroscopically. This is reading O negative based on the cells that are seen here.
In Vdrl testing, which checks for syphilis, a small amount of the serum or the white part of the blood is dropped into a tube and then incubated at 56 degrees Celsius. After 30 minutes, it is taken from the incubator, placed on a slide, mixed with an antigen, and then rotated at 180 degrees for 4 minutes. The slide is then placed under a microscope for reading. A positive sample for syphilis would show signs of lumps or flocculation. Samples from the main lab are taken over here for the human immunodeficiency virus HIV screening, as well as the human T-cell lymphotropic virus HTLV and hepatitis B and C screenings. The different reagents or chemical compound for each of these viruses are added to the blood samples and placed in this machine. The reagent will cause a color change to the sample, indicating a positive reading.
Basically, it interprets this color change to a numerical value, which we can quantitate. Either if it's positive, it tells us the degree of positivity based on the numerical value, and if it's negative, we also get a numerical value, but we also have a cutoff value which can tell us whether it's negative or positive.
Whole blood is never administered as part of safety measures. The whole blood is separated into components: red blood cells or packed cells, plasma, or white cells.
If you had a patient who was anemic, who is in heart failure, and you gave whole blood, you're giving that person a lot of plasma unnecessarily. They really need the packed cells component. Not only is it unnecessary, but you put them at added risk of making the heart failure worse. So it is important to give just the component that is required.
And the safety procedure doesn't end there. A cross-matching process is also done to identify minor blood groups that might interfere with a successful transfusion process. But once all the tests are done to satisfaction and the separation process is completed, you can rest assured that the blood to be administered is safe.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website gis.gov.jm, and while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at gis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.